Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is February the 18th, 2024 on the ancient moon calendar, 2024 on the ancient sun calendar, and 2024 on the Greco-Roman civic calendar. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity, and in accordance and in alignment with the ancient Noahide laws as stated by this Holy Congress. This is a sovereign, living, ancient Article 3, Moorish American, Al-Moroccan, Universal Court action. We are the divine, sovereign, living justices. And ego sum, Pauline Denise Ritchie. My free, chosen, sovereign appellation is Light Tajiri Bay. All are in capitis diminutio nolo, in red ink, in proprio persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capit et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the lawful, living, legal, and lawful natural head and body for our empire. All Moors are the original, indigenous, divine, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Israelites, Hamathites, Cushites, and Hittites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original, indigenous, natural, divine, sovereign, ancient empire state for Morocco. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We are also the fact government as well, not just de jure, but at fact we are the government. We are ancient Washington District for Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the Earthwide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. Today, we are exercising and demonstrating the law by our sovereign status, which is the original, indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American, natural, divine, Article 3, living United States District for Columbia Court, and we are the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, trustees, divine ministers, possessors, grantors, and title trustors for all causes for action. We are peace. We are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby recognize ourselves, and we are peace. We accept our sovereign divine ascension. We do hereby possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. We, the true living God nation, are not at war, and we hereby exercise and demonstrate all eternal, ancient, original sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, nunc pro tunc. The principles and laws that we share, along with our sovereign, powerful demonstrations and study, are processes and principles and laws of stare decisis, res judicata, ancient positive supreme law for the land, long established in sovereign order, erudite principles and processes for daily practical application to intelligently govern our vast estate. Every day is what our ancient ancestors have given us to share with the ancient sovereign nations, tribes, clans, states, and governments at earth. And for this, we are grateful. Islam. Empress Angel, if you don't mind, would you mind sharing what you inboxed me, Empress Angel, just a little while ago, please? Because the ancestors spoke the exact same scripture to us not even an hour ago. Islam.
Oh, Islam. Grand Rising. That hit me a few days ago. But I was extra compelled to pen what I penned.
I hope it wasn't about getting a conveyance, because Angel's a failure at that. Angel.
Go ahead, Empress. The haters. Go ahead, Empress.
Okay. Yes. Psalms, the 23rd chapter, verse 4 through 6 states, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For you are with me. You are my rod, and you are my staff. They comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me and all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of God forever. And then do you want me to share the personal note as well?
You don't have to do that. You don't have to share the person unless you're compelled to do so.
Well, okay, I'll share the gist of it, right? Because I was watching the video, the demonstration that you did put on YouTube concerning the demonstration of the postmaster, right? And I was watching the video, the part rather, where it states the United States Postmaster's Office affidavit. And at the bottom it read, notice, postmaster is not subject to investigation. And when I really listened into the spirit of what that was stating and how everything was already laid before us, Empress Light in her wisdom and the acceptance of acknowledgement to the ancestors and everything that has been presented has set the table for us, right? And it's up to us. And I stated at the end that that everything has been made straight. Pro-tech, from Old Middle English, techie, from Latin techus, covered. And then, because that's what it means, pro-tech, it means covered. And then I state peace, love, joy, soundness for mind is all here. And I spelled it H-E-A-R. And then I state, I could go on and on about the many ways I've realized so much about the work that has been done by thine, your good hands. And so, because it's just an amazement of realizations, aha moments, which is the breath that God is, and to realize how much you, Empress Light, and the collective have done already to protect ourselves, to guard ourselves, to give us the knowledge that we can do for ourselves, to stand on our word, to sit at the table and eat and then stand on the word. It's all been done. The table has been set. Yeah. And in the words anoint my head and thine head and our heads, and that's the oil. Yeah. And so I was just wow, like my goodness, like whew. It's an amazing thing to just know that. And then it's the will. I state somewhere about the will, and how, we have to will to do this. It says we must will to sit at the table and stand upon the words and make action the deeds. Yeah. And that when you listen and you hear that, make action the deeds. We talk about deeds are actions, but deeds is also words on paper. So you have to make action the deeds. But and so it's just a lot. And I was overcome with a lot of emotion and gratitude and gratefulness and love for what you, Empress Light, has done and just shown. And I liken you unto the one who set, because you set the table for all of us. Islam.
Thank you for the energy, Empress. I can feel that energy, and it is very beautiful.
Islam, we affirm that as well.
Thank you, Empress Rima. We appreciate you. Islam, the energy is much, much, much appreciated to the highest. Islam. That scripture, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, is exactly what that demonstration did. The banking demonstration, the banking system demonstration, and that's what the ancestors were saying to us about that demonstration. that demonstration, and all of our demonstrations, it just became clear to me when they quoted that scripture to us that in the last era, in that enactment, there would have been all types of mayhem about doing what we did, about crafting a check and sending it, and requiring that it be present on the account, and stating the account properly, stating the legacy account, because we all are the legacy, all of us. But during that time period, and even now, and again, the ancestors said that after the demonstration was done, after we willed to do the demonstration and then demonstrated that we know that we're protected. We know that we're safe. When we create our own documents, the ancestors stated it to us so clearly that even when you think about the fear factor and what the fear was made of, the fear was made of anything made by the dead. That's where the fear came from. But when we do everything ourselves, we craft from start to finish everything that has to do with us, the system will still honor everything that we've put there. There just won't be any dead jurisdiction over it. And that is the key right there to everything that we've done. The ancestors made that clear even when we did our 10-day POW demonstration, that no one has jurisdiction over us.
Fuck your ancestors, bitch.
Jurisdiction over us. Who's mad? Who's mad? Don't be mad. And more, that's why we say we have no worries. We are to be ourselves at all times. And even if you're afraid, go ahead and do the demonstration. Do it afraid. I will say this, you are guaranteed safety when you create everything yourself. You are guaranteed safety. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed even on basic principles of law. The basic principles of law is first someone has to be identified. Let's say if I'm going to accuse someone of a crime, they have to be properly identified first. Because did they do it? Well, first, who are they? Who committed the crime, and then who are they? Well, no one has the authority to name us. We're not Christians like that, in that format. This is not Christendom that way. We name everything and everyone. No one names us. We govern our names. So, first identification, and then they they say, okay, now that I've identified properly who it is that that the person is, then I have to present the evidence. Next I have to determine, was the person that has been identified, were they there at the scene of the crime? So where were they? We are not at anyone else's jurisdiction. We're at our own because we created it. When we restate the documentation, we create our safety. We have the authority to do it. And when we do that, there's no one above us but us. And then once we determine that, okay, was there a scene of the crime? Who was there? Whatever. We listen, by our statements of where we are, proper statement of the addresses, proper statement, we're on the land. And who governs the land? The landlords. Who are the landlords? The Moors. And so now you determine where the person is. Okay, now that you've determined where the person is, then you say, okay, whoever it is that has the authority to determine where you are has jurisdiction over you. First, they have to properly identify you, and no one can do that but us. No one. They can say a name that sounds like your name all day, every day, and it'll never be you until you say it. And if you never say that that's me, or that's not me, even you can say that's not you, and you'll still be right, always. But you can't just say that's not me. You have to say, no, this is me, because I created me. And that is my name that I own. I'm the Lord of that name according to our fiduciary documents. All letters, all numbers, all symbols, signs, sigils, everything. We are the Lord's over it because we created it. And if we didn't create it, it doesn't exist. Now that's the part right there where we're all going to have to continue to absorb that part. If we didn't create it, it doesn't exist. Islam nobility.
Travis back. You know, I was doing some reading too, and I read somewhere it says a man's words should be few and full of grace. Let his yeas be his yeas and his nays be his nays. Yes. And that's what we're doing.
Yes.
And they don't like it, but who cares? Islam.
The Biblio says that God sits in the heavens and laughs, a laugh of derision when it comes to things like that, the enemy, and we don't have any enemies, they're subjects. And that's the part that's joyful for me. Justice Travis, yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Our yea is the yea. Our nay is the nay. And it's not just the yea and the nay for us, it's the yea and the nay for everyone under our sovereign authority. And then as sovereigns, for example, if I say, well, Justice Travis, did you want to do this or that, or will to do this or that? If Justice Travis says no, because we're both sovereign, we honor the divinity in him. It's not that he's telling us what to do or we're telling him what to do. It's not that. It's we are gods together. So we're honoring the divinity in each other by saying, hey, your yes is yes and your no is no, even for us. That is divine recognition, recognition. C-O-G, cog. In the olden times, a name was a cognomen. A cognomen is something that you think about and then you state what it is. Cognomen. That's a name that's thought about. And that is the root word of cognition, to think. To think. And so we honor the divinity in everything that we've created, but first we honor the divinity first in ourselves. You must honor the divinity in yourself before you can honor anybody else properly. You won't honor people the right way if you don't honor yourself first. Islam. You come first. Always. You come first always. The tithing of your thoughts and the first fruits of your thoughts should be for you first. Then you can, because that's the natural order for God. The natural order is tithes and first fruits come first. That goes to God first. And that's whether that's energy, it's whether it's thoughts, it's whether it's money, it's whether it's deeds, it's whether it's property, it's no matter what it is, it comes to you first. You get for you first. Then you can honor others the right way. Then you can honor others the right way. We did the demonstration, and we knew in our spirits that we could walk through that and not have to worry about nobody coming to the door. Wait till I show you, and I won't show it this time. I'll show it in one of our upcoming where we're going next with all of this. Are you bold enough to keep walking through these demonstrations? You're protected as long as everything that you do your actions upon, you create it. As long as you create it, you don't have to worry about anything. You protect. You are your protection. That's what a sovereign is. That's how sovereigns work. That is how sovereigns work. Just one moment. Let me get. Yep. You see, it is by your word that you're protected. Let me put it that way. It's by your word.
Goodbye, Aisha. You're being evicted, dumb bitch. Because of Pauline, you're being evicted.
It is by your word, no one else's. No one else's. Because they can't move unless you give them permission. No one can move unless you permit them to. No one can move unless you permit them to, because you are God of you. You are God of you. And not only are you God of you, you're God of everything around you and everyone. Why are we stating all of these things? We are stating all of these things because you must remember, we all must keep this in mind, and we remember, we know this for a fact, that we're not even talking to them. They want you to talk to interlopers. Don't talk to interlopers, talk to the system. One thing I do know about even the subjects in the office of court jester, when we speak to the system, they won't even be able to come in here. We haven't spoken to the system yet. Why? Because the court jesters, those subjects in the office of court jester, they don't even have the authority to be a court jester without our permission. So they're not court jesters, they're subjects in the office of. The subjects in the office of court jester come in here because they are going to strengthen those who keep thinking that what they say is true. They're going to strengthen you. They're going to strengthen you. What they say is not valid. They're not even talking to us. They're not even talking to us. They're insane. They are insane. Listen, if they keep doing the same thing, and this is the definition of insanity, think about it. The definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome. They keep coming, expecting a different, like we're going to stop doing. No, we're good. We're here. There is no different outcome. We're still victorious. Whether we came on this platform or not, we're still winning. We created everything using our words.
Well,
Islam. So with the go ahead, nobility.
did you state that right? Doing the same thing, definition of insanity.
Doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome.
Okay. This is I yield.
That's how insanity is defined, as continuing to do the same thing, expecting a different outcome. They keep coming in here thinking they're gonna scare somebody, or they're gonna talk there, or we're gonna accept their words as the law. No, not gonna happen. It never will be. Never will be. They're not even talking to us. See, the thing is, they don't have the ability to speak to the system. You do. And so now we see the system doing exactly as commanded. So what's the tactic? Their tactic is, well, we can't talk to the system, so we might as well start talking to them. See, as long as they could pretend and enact speaking to the system and having the system do, come and put handcuffs on people and come and take stuff and all of this and that. As long as they could enact that in their acting, they didn't have to come and act like they cared about us. They didn't have to come and say, oh, you're going to be evicted. They didn't have to do all of that. They just pretended to speak to the system. And because we were not speaking in the enactment last time, the system just did what it heard. But now the masters,
Definition of insanity.
See, insanity is about sound. That's why they come and they try and speak words. It's about sound. The word sane and the word sound are the same word. But when we know that, see, we demonstrate that their words are not anything. We demonstrate that by continuing to keep moving, keep speaking to each other, keep going, keep demonstrating, keep doing the law, keep being the law. Boot them out, shut them up, mute them, keep going. That is how you demonstrate that you know the right sound, that you're not insane, that you're very sane, you're very sound. And when their sounds don't mean anything to you at all, then you will know that you've conquered, that you have conquered the quote-unquote enemy. Think about the word me. Me. Chapter 1 of the Circle 7, Holy Quran, states that we have no foes outside of us. None. That's not a foe. I don't have to argue with them about anything. I laugh. A laugh of derision. Why? Because I know that those very ones, the subjects acting as if they are court jesters, because see, they know they can't get to me. They know they can't do anything here. And they can't do anything with most of y'all, but every now and then, one of you will open your ears to them. And we state that we encourage you not to do that. If you feel your emotion, your frequency changing when you hear them, then there's still a little work to do. My frequency goes up when I hear them. Laughter is good for the soul. And see, some think that, oh, you just can't see what they're really saying. You're right. You're right. Can't see it, can't hear it. It's kind of like when in the last era's enactment, if someone tried to go into a fake court in propria persona, they would say, we can't hear that. We can't hear it like that. You have to get a mouthpiece or a mask. Get someone to represent you or represent yourself, and that's food for that's fodder for the machine there in a fake court. We don't represent ourselves when we stand, and we are gods because we're standing permanently. We never sat down. When we stand, as we continue to stand, no one can challenge God. No one can challenge us. So they just have to continue acting like that. You just have to continue acting like that. Create everything that has to do with you. You are the gods. You must create. You must create all forms, all affidavits, all logos, all words, all letters. You must create them. And all checks, all instruments. You know what instruments look like. Create them. Create them. And then demonstrate them. And always remember, you are not demonstrating to third-party interlopers who have a face. You're demonstrating to a system. It's a system. It's not someone who can say yay or nay. No, it's not that. It's a system. The system will do as commanded. We created it. We are to command the wealth system. It's our system. We must command it. We don't have, that's not optional. It's not optional. And all of the roles, ROLE and ROLLS, all of the roles that were previously being enacted, we are presenting the realities for those roles. And Empress Angel, you can say that is correct, except you would say understand or overstand for the sovereign.
Oh yes, correct, and that's for the sovereign. And when you were speaking, I was found that in the Black's Law some strongs ago, and that's for the subject. And the enactment, that's why when you were stating how when we would go into the enactment in those venues, they would say, I can't hear you, and because you didn't stand under their jurisdiction. And that's what that definition means. No one is present unless he. So when they would enact, and there's plenty of videos out there where the sovereign would say, they would be seen but not heard, and so they weren't being acknowledged because it wasn't under the jurisdiction. So, and they were outside. And that's why it's not competent to go to the venue at any point in time to do anything, because now you're putting yourself in a situation where you didn't ever begin anyway. You didn't begin there, so why be there?
That which starts in truth stays in truth.
Exactly. So that's why that definition is for that enactment. But when we are in the proper persona, no one is present unless they overstand, and that's for the living. You have to be overstanding in order to be presented and present oneself.
Yes, yes, indeed.
That's all.
See, the setting becomes now, Justice, your highest bay. Let's talk about what you put there. No, we don't go to those venues, but everyone who does not go to that venue, you must be the venue. You must prove that you know that you are the law by doing a court action yourselves. See, they were attempting to do a dead court action.
Sorry to cut in.
Yes.
Would you be able to open the chat for
it's open.
Shusha, please?
It's open. It's open.
Thank you. It's open, Shush.
Yeah. So those venues, it's not, and let me just make this clear about everything that we've been doing. And this is clear, this is true about Christianity. It's also true about what Moors were doing in the past, is you were only doing one part of the story. You must present the whole thing, the whole word. You can't just not go. You got to show that why is it that you're not going? You're not going because first and foremost, they haven't properly identified you. When they properly identify you, they'll already know you're not supposed to be there. Why? Because you're the court and they're acting, were acting. Plain and simple. Think about this. None of you, if there was someone out there pretending to be you at, let's just say at the grocery store, someone's pretending to be you and you standing right there and you hear all this stuff that's going on and you say, no, you're not me because I'm standing right here. I'm me. What are they going to do? And then you have the proof that you're you. Your fingerprints match you, your who you are, your ID, your identification. And see, the identification that you pull out and you say that's you, everyone must believe you. And see, that's why they were so, in the last era, identification was so, ID cards was such a big thing. Because when you pull it out and you say, this is me, if they didn't create it, they can't rebut what you're saying. No one can pull out a fake ID with someone that even looks like you and say that's you when you say that's not me. If they say, is this your driver's license? Nope, that's yours. You created it. So now you're the criminal. Whoever created it is who has to live by it. Whoever created it is who has to live by it. See, no one can arrest you if they don't have any evidence. They have to have evidence. What is evidence? Evidence is first your word. It's going to be a word anyway. Even if people say, hey, that's the one who did it, no one can touch you when your word states otherwise, and then you present the evidence. If they didn't create the evidence, they can't charge you with anything. No one can do that. You create all your own everything. And if you don't have something they created, they can't charge you with nothing because they have to have some evidence that you used something of theirs when you didn't. Because you're God. You create everything for you. And then you speak to the system and not to them. Because, see, all they were doing was standing between you and your system. That's it. That's simple. They have no authority over your instrument. But here's the thing, Morse, too. The termination of all corporate contracts is real. When you terminate all corporate contracts and you know in your knower that you're not only are you the creditor, but that you create your own everything. And then you do it, not just know, because see, you don't know something until you do it. Just like what Empress Angel put in the chat. You prove that you understand and overstand by your presence, by your doing it, your demonstration, your action. We state here on the public record that we have no dead contracts, none. No dead contracts. We never did, really. They were presumed and they were acting. but they're not. That's not us. We are the living. So, again, when you create your own everything, no one can say no to you about what's on your land. And here's the thing, even about hotels and things like that. We literally have to create our own reservation and then notify them that that's the reservation. And then we pay for it with our money and our bonds. Do you know how powerful that is? Do you know how powerful that is?
It's one of my affirm. It's powerful. Just a side note, but it's on topic because you presented the link to the video last Congress about the enactment of a closing of accounts at a particular system bank. And there was a lot of interesting things in there, and the system is doing as commanded. Let's just say that. The system is doing as commanded. And the actor subject stated things that, from his perspective, he called himself a criminal.
He did.
And so it was funny from that perspective, you know. But when you see through past the funny mirror and realize that, you know, you was giving away the value and receiving no value. That's why they're like, you can't bring nothing here no more. It's nothing. You gave the value away, but he didn't know that. Yeah. And so that's why the system that we created has rejected that.
Yes.
And
yes.
so.
And see, our word, that tells you that our word supersedes. Our word supersedes, our actions supersede all others, our documents supersede all others, our energy supersedes all others. That's another reason why we cannot war, because our energy supersedes all others. And those that are subject to us, all they're going to do is act out whatever it is we're doing. That's what they were doing, acting out whatever we were doing. I'll put the link to the video that Empress Angel is referring to. I'll put that video link in the chat. If I can find it. Let's see. I thought I put it under the last video, but I guess I did not, which is fine because it's in my history. I will say this too, Morris. Just keep doing what you're doing. Keep creating your own everything. Keep creating. Yeah, thank you, Empress Angel. Thank you so much. Empress Angel, just know that I appreciate everything you do.
Gratitude.
Indeed. So let's just keep doing what we're doing. Keep moving forward. Everything belongs to us. See, the ancestors just willed that we demonstrate our status, because when we demonstrate our status, even like the demonstration that we showed in the last Congress with banking accounts and things of that nature, once we go through that demonstration, we have already pulled down the stronghold that was attempting to keep banking from us. When we create our own everything, we just pulled down the stronghold that was keeping banking from us, seemingly. But see, we were operating or acting in the last era. We were acting in a system that they covered over and wrote things about and dictated things in their enactment. But we've created our own. It's a system. Just always keep that in mind, that you're not speaking to faces of people. You're speaking to a system. That's how you get past persons. I thought about the ancestors as they were bringing Psalms 23 and the 23rd chapter to us and speaking to us this week, just this strong, rather, just speaking. Our ancestors made it clear that when we first woke up, we didn't, our first request of the ancestors, and we've stated this many times before, we've talked about it the whole time, really. Our first statement and request to the ancestors was, how do we get past fake courts, fake policy enforcers, and all of that? How do we get past that? That was my first question. That was my first ask of the ancestors. I did not ask them for domiciles, conveyances, money. I didn't ask them for any of that first, because I willed to know how to get past. In other words, I asked for the wisdom to get past fake courts, fake policy enforcers, and all of that, fake judges. Because when you first wake up, well, when I first woke up, I didn't realize just how fake they were. I didn't realize how fake they were. And so the ancestor said, okay, we're going to put you in situations where you must prove that they're fake. So those of you who've done POW, jail and prison and camp demonstrations, all you did was prove that that's fake by being yourselves. It was a war camp until we stated who we really were, and the war had to stop and the doors opened. The war had to stop and the doors opened. That is how the question that I asked the ancestors was answered. They said, okay, you're going to answer that question for yourself. And we're going to be right within you where we've always been to assist you through that. They were war camps until now. Now they're not even war camps. They're not. We govern them, and we don't govern war. We're not confused. War means confusion. Those were camps where we had to find out who we are. They didn't dare, while I was in there, the actors could not, because I was doing court actions, on the days where they scheduled a quote-unquote court for their dead corpse, they didn't even bother to come and say, hey, you got court today.
How come we never get to see those?
Because they knew. They knew that we were not. We were being the court. So why would we go anywhere else? And we just did that 10 days straight. Every time someone showed up at the door. I like that, Justice Highest. He called them a nosy cheerleader. That's good. Islam, we actually, that's good. Yes, I asked the ancestors, how do we get past them? And they said, you will show that to yourself. And then you'll tell others how you did it, and they will do it too. Islam. Just a moment, let me get to that. So, with that being stated,
Pauline Fast from successful demonstrations. Pauline Fast from successful demonstrations.
I just demonstrated how to mute, and it was successful. Isn't that amazing? I just demonstrated how to dismiss, how to mute, how to not hear. If you'll notice, whenever...
What about that Nissan Altima you never...
Whenever you see a statue a statue of justice, they would say they would have justice's eyes and ears. They would have a blindfold over the eyes and ears of justice. Justice the reason they had eyes and ears over justice, the eyes and ears covered over the statue of justice holding the scales, is because that is an illustration of jurisdiction. Jurisdiction.
How come nobody's helping Aisha?
With proper jurisdiction, we don't hear anything, any words. We don't hold any, esteem any words over ours. We don't esteem any words over ours. So we don't even hear them. We don't even see them. They can't be seen unless they're in proper status. That's really what that means. And many of you have experienced that, where you went into a fake court to demonstrate, and they were acting like you weren't saying anything. They were acting like you weren't even speaking. That is proof that they know that that's not the jurisdiction for you. If they don't hear you, because see, any lawful court will hear all sides and then make a judgment, issue a verdict, issue justice, if it's a real court. But if it's not a real court, they won't hear anything that you have to say. That means you're not supposed to, you're in the wrong place. You're in the wrong place. We learned that. We remembered that. Early, we remembered it. Early. I oftentimes tell the story of how in 2018, which was a year after I first woke up and knew who I was, that those actors that were acting as policy enforcers came to the door 3 weeks in a row, every day, knocking on the door. They didn't have any contracts with me, so they couldn't kick the door in. So they were hoping I would answer and then contract with them. But I would not do it. So what did I do? And many of you have seen this, because a lot of us connected on social media, where I got up into the window in my bedroom and I took a photo of them out there walking around. And then I did a court action on them, and they stopped coming. They couldn't come anymore because the court had spoken. So then the ancestors said, okay, now you stop that, because you've proven that you're the court. I did it on the public record. I put it on YouTube. And actually that court action is on Light Tajiri Bay channel as well. There are several of them. The ancestors kept calling us up higher and higher. Okay, you did that, now do this. You did that, but they're still pretending to act like this. So you be that. Be the police chief. Be the governor. Be the city council. And so every time I would just do a video and demonstrate that, and send documentation, send notification, send court actions, always court actions. That is because, again, when we create the court, no one else can pretend to be the court for us. When we create the police chief, no one can pretend to send police, because they're not real. We're the police chief. We didn't send police here. We are the police. We're the the chiefs of all resources. So who is it that's sending a bill?
Islam, Empress, if I may.
Islam.
That same document that I spoke about earlier about the United States. Oh, now actually I'm speaking about the quashing of dead letter homonyms.
Yeah.
Because the offices that you stated to notify is the United States District Court, United States Supreme Court, United States Marshal's Office, and the Treasury. Correct? So with that stated, you know, I sat and I was like, the Empress like always does everything on purpose, with purpose, for purpose. So I was like, you know what? There's a purpose by the United States Marshal. So when I looked it up on Wikipedia, it says United States Marshal is the oldest federally government agency, enforcement agency, and security arm of the United States federal judiciary. Right? And then I'm just like, my goodness, that's why it's on this document of one of the offices notified for the quashing. Yes. And then the district court and those, and I added the postmaster because I put that first. Yes. As officer notified and the treasury. So all 5 offices essentially is the body of the origin as far as government, as far as how I see it anyway. And then so I think about how when you stated in the next document how the postmaster cannot be investigated. And it's just like, and now you're speaking about the demonstration that you did on 10 days, and then they came 3 weeks, 3 strongs, continuously knocking. It's because, like I said earlier, you sat at the table, you stand on your word, you will to do this, and you do it without fail. Yes. You don't weave and wind and, meander this way, and you stay the course. Yes. The course is, and so let's go on the word course, because the course is something that you walk on, it's something that you eat, like a 3-course meal, a 5-course meal. I mean, come on now. A course could also be an erudition. You take a course for erudition. Come on now. That's just 3 things on different types of courses I just mentioned, right? So it's the course in all those 3 ways you stay on this for not deviating. And this is why the victory is what it is, because you stayed there. You didn't deviate. And when I really meditated on that you cannot be, and then when you think of investigate, that word investigate, come on now. If they can't bring charges on you and they can't even peer into you because they're going into you, they're attempting to go into your person. And they can't even do that. They can't peer into, and that's what investigate is, from that perspective that they enacted doing. But when they can't do that, then they can't take you nowhere to do nothing against you, because you have to bring the evidence that you can't even have gotten because you couldn't even investigate.
You can't even get it started. See, we would have to give them something, and we haven't given them anything. They can't move until we say.
And then there's a documentary coming out. I've seen it on Instagram, the feed that we spoke about previous, and a brother is coming out in the documentary that the original George Washington is a Moor, not was, he is a Moor. And then when you read on Wikipedia, it says, it's the oldest U.S., which is United States Federal Law Enforcement Agency, created by the Judiciary Act of 1789 during the presidency of George Washington.
The Moors did all of this. We did all of this. I'm telling you, we did all of this. We are in control of everything. There's nothing that was done that we didn't do.
That part.
Now, Empress, you said something really key here, because I just got to point this out. You mentioned the word investigation. Look now at what we state. In every court action, we state the same thing. We say our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby what? Vested.
Vested.
Which is the root word of investigation. That means everything comes from us. And if it don't come from us, we don't even recognize it. We don't recognize it. We don't see it. We don't hear it.
Yes, ma'am, I affirm. That part.
Vest. 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 The word vest, if you were to see the word vest, you would be peering into your own godness. If you were to see that word in action, if there was a picture of the word vest, you would be peering into your own godness. You would be looking into your own self. That's what vest. And then we would be looking into each other, going, yes, the divinity is there. The divinity is there, like we do. We recognize each other. And you know what recognition is? Recognition is a trust. It's a trust. And that's why those subjects in the office of clowns and stuff that come in, they want to be a part of our trust. They want us to recognize them. But see, even if we do, we put them in their place, subjects in the office of clowns. So we want to see some red noses and some colored wigs and some paint on your face and a Ronald McDonald's clown suit and some big floppy shoes. Because that's the only way we recognize you. Islam, Empress.
I want you to speak as you state about vest. So vest is an item of clothing also. It is a garment. In their investigation, attempted investigation, they're also attempting to put garments on us that do not belong to us. So there, there's the cloaking, there's the covering. They're attempting to do that by investigating. Also, as you state with justice and them, well, they cannot issue any form of justice. The term issue is about a flowing forth, a coming forth from. It is a jurisdiction term.
Yes.
It is also a species term.
Yes.
So there you have that maxim of law, like for like.
Yes, it's a state term also.
State, again, thank you, adding that into it. But and so all of those, they're all things that they cannot do. They're all states that don't exist even for them, with them, they don't exist.
No. And when you say vest is also, what does it cover?
It covers the body. It covers the heart. It covers, and in fact, if you look at the body, the temple, from their astrological sense, the head is the heaven, the body is the earth.
Yes.
And so it covers the plant, the planet.
Yes. It's called vestments when it's up here.
And vestments, the clothing for the mental, exactly.
Turbans and fezzes are vestments.
Vestments. And also the term, I'm trying to find the V in there, but est is to be.
Yes, even in Spanish and Latin as well, est is to be.
Est is to be. Est is to be.
Yeah. Spanish, Latin, and French.
All of them, yes. The Romansh, as they call them, the Romansh languages. But
Ancient Roman too, yes.
Ancient Roman, that's it. We're the original Roma.
Yes, and in ancient Phoenicia, it's also est or is or to be or be.
Or be. And in fact, as you go there, if we look at the word issue, is sui.
Ooh, come on, Empress, with that. That's good. That's goosebump information. Wow.
It's popping out. That's
truth.
It's the truth.
It's you.
It's you. Mm-hmm. That's it. So it's right before us. And that's why the tongue is the talk, is the word, is the sound, is the taste, it's the all.
And that is why no one can interlope in between there when you write everything.
That is absolutely the truth.
They don't have jurisdiction.
They don't.
That's why we can print our own money and use it.
And that, again, that money piece, that is the proof of the nation.
Yes.
I have this conversation with others here, and I speak of, to be a nation, you must print your own money.
Yes.
So where is the money printed by the de facto entity that you all want to claim as your government? They don't print it here. That means simply they are not a nation.
They don't print it here either. Those that use that, they use the last vestments of it.
Right.
Last little bit of it.
And that's something that actually has really been knocking around in my head here, my heavens. The fact that how long they have not been operating with even the fiat.
Yes. Yes.
Because they haven't been printing for a long time and everything.
For those who look at the characteristics of money and you look at the inner workings of money, when you look at M1 money supply, M1 and M2, M1 money supply is the printing of the notes. That's what M1 money supply is. M2 money supply is any paper that is money, or that is enacted as money, or any paper that's really money, which is ours. So I'll speak in terms of us. For proof and to affirm what Empress Shasha just said about they've not been printing that stuff, all you have to do is go to the Federal Reserve website and look up M1 money supply, and you will see that it's down to about zero. Zero. It's been zero for years, ever since 2018. So M1 and M2 for them also is zero. In fact, for them, for the actors, everything is done, is finished. Mm-hmm. I hear and I see the ancestors now stating that, and you can just Google M1 money supply, and all that information will come up. I hear and I see the ancestors stating to prepare the demonstrations, all of the demonstrations where money is concerned. We've already done them. We've already successfully done them. Already successfully. And now our responsibility is to just saturate the earth with our money. Saturate the earth. Use it every chance you get. It is most effective when you mail it. Why? Because you're talking to a system. You don't have to go see anybody. You're God. It's a system. That's why the mailing is so important. That's why that mail process is so important. See, when we send and speak to the system and we don't use fiat to do that, no one who receives that on the other end can deny that it came from the government.
Yes.
That is why for some of you, there's such a fight with that process. That's the energies trying to say, look, you're going to prove you the government or else. So just prove it. Relax, take it easy, clear your energy, and when you clear your energy, put the right energy there, and then demonstrate the process. Listen, our ancestors know what they're doing. And here's the thing. We had to demonstrate the process repeatedly, several times before we got it right. In 2017 or 2018, when we first started demonstrating that process, because that was the second question I asked the ancestors. I said, ancestors, so the first one I asked them was, how do we get past fake courts, fake judges, fake policy enforcers? They said, we'll show you. And then they showed us. And then even while they were continuing to show us, we said, okay, well, we don't want to use fiat for anything because we know it's not right. How do we speak as and be the government and mail our documentation and not use fiat? How do we do that? And then they showed us the process, and they said, share it, put it out there, put that process out there, let the Moors know about it. And then we started printing our own stamps. That's how you know you're the Lord of the process, is you print your own stamps. That's money, by the way. Stamps are money. Did you know that? Did you know that?
Indeed, they are.
Stamps is money. By definition, they're money.
Food stamps, for instance.
Come on, Empress. Wow, there it is. That's it. Yes. Anything we call a stamp that we create is money. But we must create it. That's the key. And then no one can rebut it. No one can say that's not real. Anyone who says that's not real is not even there. They can't see. They can't see, they can't hear, and they're insane. Because we've proven it so often. All of us. Boy, sanity is something special. And now we got subjects in the office of court jester looking for the short bus. The little, let me not say things like that. But they're insane. They're insane. They are insane. And for that, we're grateful. Islam.
Just one quick thing concerning, for those who may be, concerned about, okay, it might take snail mail because, you put it in there, it might take forever. One thing I've found is when you finish the process and get the paperwork together, scan it, and take photos of the green cards in the envelope. Once it's all complete, scan it, upload it to your system, post it on social medias, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and send it at the same time. And, and once you post it and show that you have it processing, that's your receipt. That's your timestamp receipt. That's your receipt of it's deposited.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, because I don't know, back in the day when I was getting direct deposit in the enactment, I know Fridays was that direct, or actually I get it Thursday. I would know Thursday at midnight, the direct deposit would hit my enactment. Right? So I would be like sitting there waiting, and you couldn't tell me nothing because it was there. It might take a few more hours or so for it to clear, but because it had to clear doesn't mean I didn't have it. Doesn't mean it wasn't deposited. Same thing about our process. You do the receipt, you scan it, you upload it to the system of posting, you send it, and then you have your receipts. And if something was to arise and you have to stand on what you've done, you have it. It's timestamped, it's posted, and you do what you do. Islam.
Well, you use the word post many times, Empress. Let me just say, what do people think the post office is? It's an office that posts.
Yes.
It's so simple. It's so simple. It's an office that notifies. That's what posting is, notifying. That's it. So with that being stated, the things that we're doing right now, Islam Empress.
I don't know why I'm compelled to say this. With Empress Angel's analogy, excuse me, my breath, of the course, staying on the course, it reminds me of the movie The Wizard of Oz, the yellow brick road. Stay on that yellow brick road, because through our process, and it also is a symptom, and it's a road to lead us to the goals of our estate. So it just reminded me of that movie, Follow the Yellow Brick Road. The course is the yellow brick road. Islam, I yield.
Empress Light, you're muted.
Thank you. Indeed, Empress Cynthia. Yes, it just the key is just keep going. That's it. That's the key. Keep being yourself. Don't compromise. Keep going. Period. And create everything yourself. No matter what the process is that you will to do, create it and do it. Do it. I used to have some fear about stating what I was going to do next and stating that, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. Because even when I first started doing that, there would always be seemingly a fight with something that was so clear and easy to do a week ago. Once I say it, there was a fight, seemingly. Now that we know to create everything ourselves, that fight is no more. That feeling, because it wasn't really a fight, it was just a feeling of resistance. There's no resistance when we create our own things, our own formats, our own forms, our own documents, our own everything. And all we have to do, the blueprint is there. It's already out there. That's the only purpose that they were serving in that last era, was to be a blueprint for the red print. A blueprint. That's it. And then you won't even be mad at them. The subjects from the last era. You won't be mad at them. You'll actually be kind of grateful, because everything is out there already for our choosing, for our picking. We can just cherry pick whatever it is we want from the estate. And then just restate it, recreate it. In other words, create it brand new. And then demonstrate it safely. You save yourself. Come down off that cross. Come down off the cross. The cross is thinking that compromising is going to help. And here's the thing, Justice Your Highest, that's a good way to look at it. He said most of what you see is abandoned. That's a good way to look at it, except we've claimed everything. But yes, now it's up to us to demonstrate and use everything. And for us, we had our assignment was given to us by us to demonstrate the banking system. We know we're the bank. Now demonstrate the banking system. Yes. Yes.
Islam,
Empress.
You stated demonstrate the word, and what that just said to me was, we're setting the demon straight.
Yes. That's how I see that word when I hear it. Yes. I've always seen it that way, as demonstrate.
Demonstrate, because the demon is actually it really is, because all of it, as you state, even as they're enacting over there, what they're enacting is really fictional. Yeah. And like you stated, where you state something, I'm going to do this, or I will to do this, and all of a sudden there's that resistance, which is really our own sharpening tool, which is really the demon who wants to kind of keep you in that spun out place. And we by demonstrating, set that straight and put everything back in balance.
You will know before you even do the demonstration that it's going to work, because you created everything and you looked at the process and you said, this is what the process says to do. Let me create all of this. And then not just that, get your energy.
Energy, yes. Your inner G. Your inner God.
Your inner God. Yes, get that energy right.
Yes.
Powerful.
It's that's the power. In motion, in action.
Yes.
Yeah. I yield.
You know, Empress, and more, the thing that we willed to see and state is what's on the screen. This is how, because the same thing that happened to Moses happened to Job. Moses, and again, we're talking about restating everything. We're talking about systems, speaking to systems, and not just to see the story of Moses and all of those anthropomorphic stories. They don't tell you the whole thing in the Biblios. They don't tell you what really happened in the Biblios. You have to see between the lines and then go get a Hebrew Bible, and the Hebrew Bible will tell you what really happened. Moses grew up. Think about us and what we've enacted. We grew up in the funny mirror, in the enactments. It's like we were birthed into a play almost, into some theater.
Yeah.
Okay? And then it was up to us to wake up and come out of the theater and then demonstrate our sovereign authority. Moses grew up in the house of Pharaoh, and see, they say Pharaoh, but we're the Pharaohs. But anyway, Moses grew up in the house of Pharaoh and stayed there long enough to learn the ways of leadership, finance, and law. He also witnessed that which did not align with his core values. So, after his interaction with law enforcement and his killing of an officer, quote unquote, and I'm quoting, all of this is anthropomorphic, but it relates to us. In other words, he was accused of killing a law enforcement officer who was beating a slave mercilessly. And when he saw the slave being beat mercilessly, he killed the officer and had to flee. He left Pharaoh's palace and fled to the back wilderness of Egypt. So all he did was just hide out for a while. After the statute of limitations had expired for his crime, he returned to Egypt to assist in the exodus of the children of Israel. The moral of the story is that he could not challenge the system whilst still on Pharaoh's payroll, because when he grew up in that household of Pharaoh, you know, he got paid well, handsomely for that. But he had to go away. And so the way that the ancestral energies work is they create a situation where you get to choose whether you go or stay. And it's usually not a pleasant one. Usually not a pleasant one. Until you see what it really means. The situation that they create, you can always step right on out of it. By being yourself. Because, again, they're just actors. But it's your system. They're just actors. It's your system. And so, additionally, if the children of Israel had matured while in slavery the way that we have, because we're not in slavery. In fact, we never were. We were just enacting that. But we've matured our way out of it. So we didn't need anyone to come save us. All we had to do was hear the word and then state. Moses would not have even had to come back to get them. He wouldn't have even had to come back and get them. They would have done what we all have done. Written their way out. Spoken their way out. They could have freed themselves and gained a much better appreciation for their freedom. But see, because he came and got the children of Israel, they're called that because their mentality was not of the majority. They were minors. They were children. So he had to come and get them because he knew some things they didn't know about the system. And as soon as he went and rescued them, guess what they did? They got out in that wilderness and started complaining. And after a while, they was like, we could have stayed back in slavery. No appreciation for it because they didn't earn it. Those are the parts they don't tell you about. They put a whole bunch of flowery stuff on those stories, but the truth of the matter is that you're saving yourselves.
Islam,
nobility.
I think the takeaway that I just intuited from what you said or discerned when the Israelites were freed from bondage, the difference was they did not have to do any inner shadow work. They did not have to work on themselves. They did not have to fight and struggle for their freedom, although they had been suffering. There's a difference between suffering and fighting for one's freedom.
Yeah.
If you're just suffering but you ain't fighting for your freedom, that's different. And then when you just get set free, you didn't earn it, you didn't fight for it, that's why it wasn't as much appreciated. Some of them may have demonstrated appreciation, but again, they didn't fight for it. That's what we are doing as we free ourselves. We're struggling and fighting for that freedom. And I don't mean fighting from a war standpoint, but I mean the inner war, the inner peace that has to be fought for and overcome for the God inside of us. That's the type of fighting that I'm talking about. That's that inner shadow work that all of us have to manifest and work on. And because of bad habits and so forth, miseducation, etc., or the lack of whatever you want to call it, okay? I don't want to use those terms, but I can't think of the right words. But whatever it was that had us participating in the old system the way that we did, or however we did it, we still have to overcome that and come out of it ourselves. And I'm going to just leave it at that. Trust the spirit of what I'm trying to say, not the words. Islam.
Thank you for the spirit of what you said.
I know you're going to jump all over that, but that's why I said it's the spirit of what I'm saying. It ain't the actual words.
Noble Phoenix, I just know that you know the word. And that's why I even bother, because I know that you know the word.
Well, I do. Sometimes when you're coming from the spirit, you don't always think of the exact words that you want to at that moment, and they'll come back to you later, or momentarily they'll come back to you.
Yeah.
Islam,
Empress.
May I add on to that?
Yes.
Within the topic.
Yes.
As the children, as you state in the story, the children of Israel whom were brought out by Moses and then complained because they had not earned. Now, again, these words they drop. If you earn it, EARN, you're alive, you're living, your action, your emotion, you're turning that wheel, your will.
Mm-hmm.
If you earn it, you are in. You're dead. You're not doing anything. So that was the difference. That's the difference from how I see it, because it's the sound again.
Yeah.
But what is the frequency of the sound? And with a child, incompetent to competent, and I just see the two there, the same earn, the same sound, but the rhythm or the melody of that sound is dependent upon your jurisdiction and your state of mind and your state and your status, and whether you're incompetent or competent. That's I just wanted to share that. That's how it showed itself to me, that sound.
Well, Empress, when you say earn, because see, there's two earns. There's probably 4 or 5 earns actually. There's EARN and then there's URN.
Right, which is the vessel for ashes or of the dead.
Yes. That is why in the last era they always talked about how to earn a living. Earn a living.
A living. Because in that era, we were enacting dead. They were dead, so being in their jurisdiction. So you had to earn the play on words is exciting.
It's there's duality in, seemingly duality in all of it. We just have to know how to read.
It's that double entendre.
Yeah.
That's what that is right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yes.
I have not heard the term double entendre in probably 20 years.
Really?
Yes, I love it though. That's one of my favorite terms.
Trust me to bring it forth. I love words.
Yes.
Yes. Wow.
Earn a living. It is by what we do that is proof of that we live.
Right.
That's what earning a living really is. And as long as the actors were, quote unquote, working and earning a living, and we were working and thinking we were earning a living, it's only when we know who we really are that we can truly earn a living.
Yes.
Noble Phoenix used the term fight, and that, as you all know, that is not a vocabulary item that I use when I talk about the things that we do. It's right for Noble Phoenix, and we honor that. We don't use that vocabulary item because it's to us, this is not a war. It's not a fight. It is an acceptance of our inheritance and a statement of our estate. And to me, my confidence in doing the demonstrations comes because I know we created everything. And so when I create all of the documentation and I do a demonstration, my confidence comes from the fact that I know there's nothing foreign in there. Therefore, there's nothing for foreigners to act on. See, they have to have a script. You have to hand them a script for them to act. A script being a name. If you give them your name and you agree with that their name that they have been putting out there is you've given them a script. And then they start acting. We've not given them a script. And so what do? They try and present one and say, would you like for us to act out this one or that one? And then we say no. We just rewrite. Everything they present, we alter it. We put it on the holy altar. That makes us feel quite papal. We put it on the holy altar, and we restate and change it. And when we put it on the holy altar and state it properly, see, the sacrifice goes on the altar also. And in ancient times, whenever a sacrifice was put on the altar, the sacrifice was killed and then put on, because there had to be bloodshed. But when we put things on the altar, the blood is in the right red thumbprint. We're issuing. When they say the woman who had an issue of blood in the Bible, the story about that, many of you may have heard that story about the woman who had an issue of blood. And then she touched the hem of the garment of Yeshua, and she was made whole through her belief. But her mind had to be made right first. She had to go under his jurisdiction and his authority in order for that to happen, which we don't do because we don't have an issue of blood. We know who we are. We're not trying to mix foreign things in with what we're doing. Our blood is pure and uncorrupted, unruptured, unbankrupted, uninterrupted.
Islam, I affirm, and I give gratitude and honors for that demonstration that was just taking place right here concerning the hearing and the listening and the speaking and the conversing concerning, a word. And that was, I honor that. I embrace it. I love it. And because like every single time for the past few months now, every single time we come in the Congress, it's like the real connection is real because you start talking and speaking rather on the very thing that we have here going on here. It's like without an instant of not, it always is in sync. I mean, completely. So how the demonstration just took place between Noble Phoenix and, that was stated, like that was a beautiful demonstration of recognizing how he states things, appreciate loving it, and then guiding, like, because we all wake up and realize things at our own time. Yes. Right? And as we grow, as we get stronger in our demonstrations, knowing who we are, that will manifest in its time. Yes. And when we realize this, then the sound will change, hence the word. Yeah. That is God. And then so when also you were stating about earn, right? And then the Biblios, it talks about faith without works is dead. And then there's another scripture in the Biblios talking about how one must work to earn one's salvation, something to that degree. I think you know what I'm talking about how it was more in like the Catholicism sector, where they always talked about how they had to go, that's why they had to pray and go to confession and things of that nature, and they were trying to earn their right to heaven. Yeah. And forgiveness. Yeah. And they had to do that whole enactment. They were trying to earn living and earn salvation. Yeah. And so
the Biblios also states that everyone should work while it is day, for when night comes, no man can work. That was 2020, 2021 time frame when no man could work. And then after that, the Biblio says, it talks about how in further in other chapters, it talks about how that during all of this darkness and this deep darkness that was previously enacted in the last, as that era went away. Because see, people don't realize this is a whole new time. And that was the delineation between the eras. People don't realize that, but it's true. 2020, 2021, that whole quote unquote that's the marker that says, okay, stop everything, halt everything, we'll start anew. And this time let the Moors just demonstrate, because they already put us into subject status. They said stop acting. They put us in sunset. So stop, hold it. The commerce has stopped. Now let's hear what they have to say, to state. Hear the word of the Lord, basically, because you'll hear them say that a lot. Hear the word of the Lord. And let the Lord speak, which is all of us. That's all of us. And so what we do is we speak, and we know. We know. Sometimes I hear more speak, and they speak as if the wealth hasn't already transferred. They speak as if we haven't already got the victory. They speak as if we're still working to free ourselves. No, we're already free. We were born free. We've been free. But they still haven't. Again, it hasn't manifested in their minds, because that's, again, vestments. Vestments. Generally, and more, I'll just say this because I know you get it. I know you get what we're stating. People who spend a lot of time in the funny mirror they speak like the actors are still doing stuff, and they're still on top. They're still, and we still struggling to work. And no, none of that is no. We're not. We're not struggling. It's not a struggle, and yours will not be a struggle the moment you state that it's not a struggle. It's not a struggle. It's not a war. It's not a fight. Those are words that that are not a part of our vocabulary when speaking about us and the things that we do. Because we know that once we make the statement and put the word out, once we state, proclaim, and put the word out, that all must obey. It's a system. Even when we speak, there's a system that catches the words and says, what do I do with these? I'm going to do what she stated. I'm going to do what he stated. It's a system. And that's why we don't even be lazy with our words. We go ahead and look in the books, find the right words to use, and then use them. We're not going to let that go because we know it's a system waiting right here. The breath is a system. Did you know that? Breath.
It's an airway.
It's an airway.
Air, I mean, you're going to spell it A-I-R or H-E-I-R. I mean, that part. Airway, the airs are the way. The airway, the lungs, which are wings. Come on now, I will mount upon wings as eagles. I will soar. However, the rest of that scripture goes. That part.
A way is a conveyance method. A way is a way is
a waterway.
It's a street. It's a road. It's a way.
Waters are ways.
So when you speak, the energies, the words are caught. They're placed into the system, and it's not really placed into the system because you are the system. That's why you have to be careful what you say. And you don't have to be careful. Just know the right words and make them a habit, and then the right words will habitually come out. I've made it a habit of listening to people when they speak so that I will know where they are. That tells me what people do. I can tell, and you all can too, because I can tell by their sound, by what they're saying, what they spend their time doing. That's why the words are so important. That's why it's so important. What we say is so important. Islam, Empress.
Way is also money. Way.
Come on with it. Come on with it.
As we know, the grain was weighed. That's where the root of the silver and all of that. But way is also, that's the currency.
Yes.
The money.
Here, let's put that on the screen.
And then you got W-E-I-H-E-I-G-H.
Listen, we are the way, the truth, and the light. No man comes to the Father but by us. And who's the Father? The system. See, that's why in the last era it had to be a patriarchal era in the enactment, because that was who was enacting the system. Enacting the system. The real system is matriarchal. And again, our sons have matriarchal energy, so we're not discounting them. In fact, we hold our sons up high because we had them. We created them. So we're this way, this way, this way, this way, and every other way.
Way.
And when you're looking at words like that, also, Morris, look at it in other languages, because it's going to still say the same thing, just a different way of saying it. That's why knowing the other languages, it's going to come so naturally as you study etymology and you study the words. I can tell who studies etymology and word language and word history and definitions by how they speak. You all can too. I mean, this Congress, I'm sure we have flags flying up all over the place, red flags when people are speaking, when we hear something, including myself. If you all hear me say something about something that's outside of our energy, our regular everyday energy, everyone will pick up on it. And same with us.
Islam. The scripture it comes to mind is there is no condemnation for those who are in yes we, because sometimes people will feel condemned by because by the statement you say I can pick up on where people are or what they do by the words that they speak, and in the past enactment that will be you're trying to judge me or condemn me, that whole energy and that whole, act, whatever. But like there should not be, and so we will it not, the condemnation don't be there, that you desire to be and do and achieve that which is just. And so that's why I desire and will to make that statement that there is no condemnation for those who are in they said Christ, a Christ mind, that part, yes. So we we put aside those thoughts of condemnation because you can find yourself in a whole lot of misery, feeling that someone's trying to condemn you, and that's not who we are. That's not that part, and so yeah.
Well, even those who, well, first and foremost, you all know we know each other, so we know that that's not our intention. That's first and foremost, is we know each other. We know that's not our intention. Is to judge, is to have someone feel like they're being unjustly judged. Secondly, iron sharpens iron. We get better at what we're doing by pointing things out. We had to overcome that feeling, because see, even people have tried to judge us, but because we would not let them do that, we just took what they said and used what we could use and set the rest aside and set the energy aside. We can hear words without accepting the energy. So even if someone was trying to judge you, you can hear what they're saying and not accept that judgmental energy and use what they're saying so that they'll shut up. See, that's something I learned from many being around the same people for many years.
And I say that's a discipline.
It is a discipline. Yes, it's a discipline.
And you could look at discipline as a decision, because it is a decision. It's a choice. You choose that part.
You must disciple your own self, or someone else will do it for you. You must disciple your own self. That's what self-governing is. It doesn't mean you don't get to have all the fun you want to have and do all the things you want to do and have all the wealth and resources you want to have. That's a given. That you have what you say, what you state. That's biblical. But iron is always going to continue to sharpen iron. We can, as I was stating, I've been around the same people for many years that did not come from the same Stargate that I came from. I've been around those people many years. And I have learned that that the best way to calm them down and have them be quiet about certain things is to overstand whatever it is they're talking about, whatever they're complaining about, overstand it. We must be smarter and more intelligent than our critics. And that, again, that's not a war thing, because see, when you're overstanding something, you're not even thinking about who said what. What you're doing is reaching the peace place quickly. I'll give you an example. My consort used to complain about my weight because at one time I was bigger than I am now. He used to complain about it, and sometimes, it was like somebody taking a needle and just continue to stick you with this needle, and I could not be mad at him because he was right. Mm-hmm. He was right, because I didn't care for me, because that's not how I was raised. I was not raised to be bigger like that, like I was. Mm-hmm. And of course I got mad about it. Back in those days, I got mad about it, but I said I can't be mad at him because he's right. And then one year he had the audacity. One year he had the audacity to buy me a treadmill for Christmas. What? Did you? At first I cried. For about a day and a half I cried. But I knew he was right, so I couldn't be mad. I just said, "That's great. Thank you for that. I'm glad to see it. I'm glad it's here." But then I started using it. I started using it. I started fasting. I started watching what I eat, and not really watching, because I don't deny myself anything. I eat whatever I want to eat. I just know that when it's time to fast, I'm going to fast. When it's time to pull back, I'm going to pull back. That's called discipleship. I'm discipling myself so that no one else has to do. I don't need a doctor to disciple me. And so I started using it. The conference is unlocked, Justice Tonus. And I got smaller. And I got in shape. And I was able to run faster and farther and longer. And I kept going, and I made it a practice, because it was a practice when I was younger. Me and my dad used to go to the gym together all the time. And then even once I joined the Air Force and left many years ago, whenever I would come home, that would be the thing that we did. Me and my dad would go to the gym, because he was a member of a gym for like 30 years. He was a member of the same gym for 30 years. And we would go to the gym together, and then after that, stop by Starbucks coffee and get a coffee and just talk and connect, reconnect, or strengthen our connection. So I couldn't be mad at my consort. He was actually doing that for my good. But the way he did it was just the way guys do, the way our sons do, especially when you've been with someone as long as we've been together. But I started using it, and guess what? When I got to the weight that I willed to be at, he had to be quiet and start complimenting. That's how you stop that from happening.
But you still want ugly bitch. You still want ugly bitch.
That's how you stop it from happening. That's how you stop it. So anytime
I thought we were going away in September.
We will to silence the critic.
Remember how we were supposed to go?
Oh, check this out. You silence critics by overstanding whatever it is that they're stating. Oh, just overstand it. Pull from it what you need, what you will to pull from it that will assist you.
Look at the chat, everybody.
That's what listen, and let me say this too. Yes, Empress Shasha says we can transmute critic to critique, constructive critique, not destructive criticism, but constructive critiquing. So I would hear his words in my head while I was on the treadmill, and I would say, okay, he was right, but I'm going to go. I'm going to go. I'm going to go. And I went, because that's not who he married. He not married, because I can't even say that. That's not who he was with. He was not with someone who was, bigger. He preferred smaller, and that's who he chose. So I said, okay, let me get myself together. Let me get my mind right and disciple myself instead of having him disciple me. So and that's why I'm saying that is the statement for the subjects in the office of, when it's constructive, when it's intelligent critiquing. If it's not intelligent critiquing, you can completely ignore and not hear it. Don't hear it in your court. Don't hear it. So with that being stated, we are to disciple ourselves, and then those that are not willing to disciple themselves, the law will disciple them as well. That's what the law is for. The law is for the lawless, those without law. Not without law, it's those who do not observe the law, because the law is always here. It's for those who don't observe the law and honor the law. We are the law. Look at what we've done over the last few years more. Look at what we've done regarding companies and resources and things of that nature. We had to bag those corpses, we had to put those corpses down. And it's clear that we've done that. When we first started printing Delarium, we had one or two, not many, because most folks do study and it resonated with their spirit, but there was one or two who said, you can't print that in somebody else's nation. You're not supposed to, because it ain't but one government, and they already got money. And I was thinking to myself, okay, wow, funny mirror. You are really in the funny mirror. And that was someone claiming to be a Moor who said that. They'll get in trouble for printing their own money when there's already a money system. No, there was not. There was not. With that being stated, I have that is what we have for today. Are there any other questions, comments, wisdom? Questions, comments, wisdom from this great and holy Congress? Islam. So we will adjourn until Thursday at 7 p.m. We have some other demonstrations that we're doing as well. And also, really quickly, how are your demonstrations going, Morris? Because if it's one thing we appreciate, it's Morris that not only hear, but demonstrate. Because, see, there are some who they just come and they just listen and they don't demonstrate anything until that boa constrictor hits with them. How are your demonstrations going for you? Really quickly before we adjourn.
Yeah. Well, Islam, they're going well, and because when I penned that statement I made earlier, I had a lot of things in mind. I had the brother who stated how he was with you from the beginning, and how he, remained faithful, and essentially he stayed, he kept to the work, and everything that Mama put on the table, he ate. Yeah. And then he stood on, and then he demonstrated. So that was that demonstration was in my mind when I was thinking, and like when my aha moment about son, he affirmed Mama.
Yes.
And, that is that part.
Yes.
It's son's affirmation to affirm Mama by his demonstration. That's the whole demonstration of Mama's the law. Son, he upholds the law.
Yeah.
And he carries out the law. So to see and hear that was another thing that was resonating within me when I sat there and I said, my words, Mama prepared the table. It's for us to sit at the table, eat, stand upon the word, and then demonstrate. That's where the protection comes from.
Yeah.
So, when you say that, like, how our demonstration is going, it's like, I will and desire for people to do the demonstrations and do them all, right? Because when you put on the full armor for God, then you're protected, right? And then how does that go? You put on the breastplate of righteousness, the loins girt about with truth, your feet shod with the preparation of the gospel of peace, your helmet of salvation, your shield of faith, and your sword, which is thy word.
There it is. That's the formula. That's the key. That's the key.
Right? So that is that part. So look for the demonstrations to work because you put it on. You do it every day. And you don't miss. If you miss the helmet and think you're protected, I mean you are, but then you're vulnerable because you didn't put on the full armor. You have to put it on, and the paperwork is that.
Yes.
That's the full armor, and to understand that is Mom. Yes.
Your word is the armor. Your word, written, spoken, demonstrated, studied, repeat. When you talk about the word, and listen, it's like an artist. An artist can write a song, and when the artist writes the song and they add all that they feel in their heart to that song, no one can tell them that their song sounds terrible because they like it, because they wrote it. And then other people will hear the song and they'll sing it too. And it will resonate with them too. But the artist can't not publish the song just because there's one or two over there that didn't like it. You publish anyway. And stand on your publication. Islam. With that being stated, I have nothing further at this time for the Congress, and if no one has anything further as well, we will adjourn. Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine God. Yes, indeed, in the chat.
Grand rising. Peace and grand rising.
Peace and grand rising.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
One in mind.
Islam, success, Moors. Love you all. Love you all. Grand rising.
Grand rising.
Islam. Islam. Islam.